What's up, everybody? Hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful day. We are back at it again. President Ruto of Kenya making a good impact, making a lot of noise in a positive way. Very interesting sermon. In the last meeting, he had a discussion with several other leaders explaining why it was important that Africa set itself in a very strong economical position. Let's listen to him and make a comment right after. Let's go.
Why are we bringing dollars in the middle of our trade? This is the question we should be asking ourselves. And in the process, all our business people are stranded. Egypt cannot pay for our tea because they are looking for dollars. We cannot pay for their sugar because we are also looking for dollars. I suggest that we have a mechanism where we can settle all our payments, whether between our countries or externally, using our local currencies. And we have a mechanism like the one that has been put up by the APSS to settle all that so that we don't have to be hostage to any one currency or the other.
So as you can see, President Ruto is not playing. Before he spoke about the subject, he's the same president that spoke about the humiliation many presidents went across. You remember when the Queen Elizabeth of England passed away? Many presidents of Africa went to England to go and pay respect. However, the respect was not returned. As they arrived to England, at the time to go to the funeral, many African presidents were put into a bus. They were stuck into a bus to go together, as opposed to other presidents from across the world who were assigned a convoy, particular cars, to convoy them to the event. African presidents were all stuck in a bus. Yes, like nothing. It was very disrespectful, except the lady representing Ethiopia who refused categorically to get into that bus. Most of these African presidents just went. And Ruto said in one of his documents, he said, it's saddening to see the level of disrespect to a president of a nation. Now he comes forward with this system that is tremendous, really impressive. It's called the PAPSS. It's a system and infrastructure that will help Africans to trade within themselves.
Introducing PAPSS, the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, supported by Afreximbank, the African Union, and the AfCFTA, that's connecting cross-border payments in Africa today, linking banks, payment service providers, governments and fintechs, making intra-African trade faster, more affordable, more inclusive, and supporting our shared vision to be one unified market under the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, overcoming the fragmentation that created new borders, hampering intra-African trade for generations. With PAPSS digital capability, you can reap the rewards of this transformation by enabling your clients' cross-border payments to be instant and cost-efficient, with transactions initiated and settled in local currencies, fully secure with best-in-class ISO 222 encoding, and totally transparent with enhanced analytics for better informed decision-making. If you're ready to extend your reach across Africa and accelerate trade across borders for you and your clients, it's time to connect to PAPSS.
So an African country that wants to trade to the next African country can just go direct with each other and trade. Many years ago, we needed dollars. Let's say for Gambia to trade with Senegal, to exchange goods, they need to exchange their money into dollars, then do the trade. If South Africa need to trade with Kenya, for instance, South Africa will need to convert the rands in dollars, losing the value of the rands, then purchase whatever they want to purchase in Kenyan shillings. Now President Ruto say, why do we need dollars if I'm making a deal with my neighbor Djibouti?
Traders from Djibouti selling to Kenya, or traders from Kenya selling to Djibouti, have to look for US dollars. How is US dollars part of the trade between Djibouti and Kenya? Why?
Rationally, please explain that to me. Why would I need dollar, which is a currency of a foreign nation, to do trade with my neighbor? It makes no sense. So why can't Africans build their own infrastructure that will help them exchange goods, circulate funds, trade within the continent without any difficulties, without any middleman, without any fees being deducted off their account for important trade. So he came forward with this idea. PAPSS, which means the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, is a cross-border financial market infrastructure enabling payments transaction across Africa. So it's a leading-edge technology connecting African banks, payment service providers, and other financial market intermediaries, enabling instant and secure payment between African countries. So this is really, really good for the African continent, finding a way to transact, to exchange goods, to do business without necessarily going through international infrastructure. They say it's an instant payment made by originators to beneficiary in their local currency, no matter where they are in Africa. So you just need to use your local currency. If you're in Zimbabwe, you don't need the US dollars. You can use your local currency to buy something from South Africa. This simplifies historical complexity and cost of making payments across African borders, providing operational efficiency that opens up a vast economic opportunities for all stakeholders. So this is really, really a good idea. Okay, so who's enabled Africa with this institution, this infrastructure? It's called AfriX Bank. This is an African-based bank with African contributors, African nationals that are already investing into this infrastructure to help everybody to move forward. And this is supported by the Central Bank of Liberia, the Bank of Ghana, the Bank of Gambia, the Bank of Sierra Leone, the Bank of Nigeria, and the Bank Central of Republique de Guinea. So Africans are finally opening their eyes, ditching the dollar. Okay, this is nothing against the United States, nothing against the dollars. This is just making business easy for Africans. And I think this is a long time due. So President Ruto is clearly somebody very different from many presidents we've seen. He's going to a road that many people are afraid of. Okay, the previous person to try engage into that road was President Muammar Gaddafi of Libya. He came forward saying, we don't need the dollar to do our own trade. We don't need the dollar to exchange goods within the African continent. Why do we need the dollar? We have all the resources. We have all the finances. We have all the minerals. Let's create a currency for our trade. Let's create a currency based on the gold. It's called the dinar. The dinar was supposed to be the currency of Africans, trading within Africa, exchanging goods and services. However, that was the reason why Muammar Gaddafi was taken out, because the United States and other Western nations saw that if this project of dinar came to fruition, it would destabilize the rest of the world.
But some are convinced intervention in Libya is all about currency, specifically Gaddafi's plan to introduce the gold dinar, a single African currency made from gold, a true sharing of the wealth.
It's one of these things that you have to plan almost in secret, because as soon as you say you're going to change over from the dollar to something else, you're going to be targeted. There were two conferences on this, one in 96 and another one in the year 2000, called the World Mataba Conference, organized by Gaddafi. And everybody was interested. I think most countries in Africa were keen.
Gaddafi didn't give up. In the months leading up to the military intervention, he called on African and Muslim nations to join together to create this new currency that would rival the dollar and euro. They would sell oil and other resources around the world only for gold dinars. It's an idea that would shift the economic balance of the world. Countries' wealth would depend on how much gold they have, not how many dollars they trade. And Libya has 144 tons of gold.
So basically, whoever had the most gold will be the richest countries in the world. So as for you who don't know, the US dollar has got its value through many things. After the Second World War, the United States was in a very good position globally, and it was respected and it was accorded that a power as a world leading currency. The dollar was the world leading currency. And again, in the 1970s, Nixon went to Saudi Arabia and negotiated a deal to protect Saudi Arabia in order to have Saudi Arabia selling oil exclusively in the US dollars, thus giving the US the power that it has today. Now, in the 1970s again, Nixon detached the dollar to the gold, because back in time, for every dollar you had in hand, you had an equivalent in gold in the bank. So if you had $100 as a note, you also had $100 worth of gold in the bank. That gave the balance that the world had between gold and currency. So for every dollar, there was a gold equivalent in the bank. Now, in the 1970s, Nixon said from now on, we don't need that anymore. The US dollar will be detached from the gold, and thus enabling them to print as much money as they wanted. They became rich like never before. And this creating interest rates in other countries. Now, every country's economy was now balanced based on the US dollar state. In the meantime, in the US, they just needed to print the money as much as they wanted. Now, this is a danger because we all know what happened to Gaddafi when he came forward with an alternative to the dollar. As opposed to China and Russia, Gaddafi was not a very strong country. So they found it very easy to create this story about NATO going to Libya. Obviously they said Gaddafi was a dictator and all that story. He was bad for his people, even though Gaddafi did so many good things for his people. We're going to talk about that in the next video. Gaddafi obviously was taken out very quickly. Now, we are very worried about President Ruto. What is the future of President Ruto? Coming as a very strong figure, speaking out on things that many people are afraid of talking about. Will it be the next Gaddafi? Will he become a target from now on because he's inciting African nations to abandon the US dollar and to embrace an African-based infrastructure? President Ruto on the next move just said that he wants to promote people-to-people interaction and trade and investment. He said, "I'm firmly committed to eliminating the barriers imposed by visa requirement for Djiboutian citizens traveling to Kenya. Therefore, Kenya has concluded necessary procedure to enable visa-free visit for citizens from Djibouti to Kenya."
I have today informed my brother, President Goulet, that we will not only make it possible for people holding diplomatic passports and services passports to come to Kenya without the need for a visa, but I have also extended it to all the people of Djibouti, even those holding ordinary passports.
So he's opened the borders because he was complaining about Africa. Why is Africa so restrained? Why do we need visas to go to each other? We never used to be that way before Europe came to Africa. We never used to be that way. We just needed to go in peace. I am coming in peace and I'm greeting you and I salute you. And we stayed together for a little bit and we moved together and we married, we intermarried, we inter-exchanged, we partied together. People from Botswana and people from South Africa partied together. People from Zimbabwe, people from Zambia partied together. Zambians and Congolese had parties together. Congolese and Angolans were one, the same kingdom. Today they are separated. Now President Ruto said we need to facilitate Africans from moving. While Europe came to Africa separating us and telling us we needed visa to visit each other, Europe itself don't need visa to visit each other. You don't need a visa from Italy to go to Belgium or from Belgium to France. You don't need a visa to go to Spain. But they came to Africa and said, you guys need visas to visit each other. These are your borders that never existed in the past. Now, Ruto said no more visas for Djiboutian, and he's very slowly showing the will to open the doors. Obviously, in a very secure way. Make sure everything is looked after. Make sure we don't let in all the crazy drug dealers, whatever people. But in the meantime, we cannot ban everybody just because there are some bad fruits out there. We need to open up and work together. Once again, President Ruto of Kenya, in an emphatic manner, presents his project about African banks. He says that Africans need to trade with each other with no difficulties. He says, why should Africans use the dollar to exchange and buy goods from the next country? It makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense. What does the dollar have to do with that? If we are supposed to be democratic countries in 2023, there is no reason why you should be using a foreign currency to buy something from a neighbor. It makes no sense. Let me know how you feel about this. Will Ruto be the next Gaddafi? Should he be afraid and be scared of what might happen to him? Do you think this is the right move? Do you think Africa will be able to stand to the ground and to stand to the task and be fruitful and efficient? Let me know your comments. Thank you very much. God bless.